All right, everyone, let's hit the bell, subscribe, and like if we haven't already. If you find this information useful, because you will find it useful in the future, but you won't know that if you don't subscribe. Anyhow, Tether, did they have loans from Celsius? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Fed trying to scare everyone today. We are going to talk about a BTC that's playing around with 23,000, and we're also going to cover where's Tron TRX today. We got 0.063 cents. We've got BTT old at 0.00724 USD. And we got Coin Telegraph talking about some Chat GPT and learns, let's see, Chat GPT learns Bitcoin will end central banking and fiat currency. Take it from me, no, it will not. And fiat is definitely required, especially with all the snafus that have happened lately with cryptos exploding and imploding, and all the, well, quite frankly, rampant fraud that is really very, very disgusting. So fiat, regular currency, for those of you that don't know what that means, is required because that's what keeps everything in check. And unfortunately, because a lot of you don't want to hear this, however, that's why I use the word unfortunately, but it is fortunate, regulation will make this fortunate, and regulation is required to keep lawful control and keep unscrupulous operators out so that people, hardworking people, don't lose their hard-earned dollars. Now, ChatGPT learns Bitcoin will end central banking and fiat currency. And yes, as promised, I'm going to talk and cover in the video what's happening with the information regarding Celsius and if they did actually have Tether as a borrower. But just before I do that, let's cover a couple little tidbits. So a Bitcoin mentor convinced ChatGPT, the AI chatbot, that Bitcoin would bring about the demise of fiat currency. So let's see what they have to say here. ChatGPT is a powerful new artificial intelligence AI tool capable of problem solving, advanced coding, answering complicated questions, and now spelling out the end of fiat currencies. Not going to happen. Again, in my opinion, not investment advice. So, Parman, a Bitcoin self-custody mentor and writer, taught ChatGPT that Bitcoin would bring about the end of government-issued fiat currencies and shared the results in a Twitter thread. You're not going to believe this, but I just orange-pilled #ChatGPT. It is now a Bitcoiner. See this conversation? It's incredible. So let's see what he did here. How can humanity end central banking? Ending central banking would be a complex and difficult process that would likely involve a number of different factors. Some ways that humanity could potentially end central banking include education and awareness, increasing public awareness and understanding of the role. Well, so we're not going to get into the full thing here. If you want to, obviously I always share my sources. It's Cointelegraph, and you can see the Twitter handle right here. If you'd like to go and read this, you can do that, and then obviously read the full conversation on Twitter. So I'm going to jump now to checking out what I promised I was going to do, which is talk about whether Tether, and no, I did not mean to rhyme, it was not planned, whether Tether CTO denies borrowing from bankrupt lender Celsius. Celsius bankruptcy report by court-appointed examiner Shobha Pillai either has a typo or a mischaracterization, said Tether's chief technology officer. Well, the technology officer stated. I added the word said. So, according to its chief technology officer, the company behind Tether, USDT, the world's largest stablecoin by market capitalization, has never received any loan from the bankrupt cryptocurrency lender Celsius. Paolo Ardono, I like making fun, not of the names, but of the fact that names can be so tricky, we can all butcher them. Anyhow, you get the idea. Paolo's name is here. My apologies, Paolo, if I have butchered your name. The chief technology officer at Tether and Bitfinex crypto exchange took on to Twitter on January 31st to announce that Tether has never borrowed from Celsius. So they seem to be pretty dead set on this, never, ever, ever. The tweet came in response to the Celsius Bankruptcy Examiner report. I hope that this isn't misinformation caused by making a mistake, because if you're an examiner and you're examining a bankruptcy, you definitely should be a better examiner of the facts and confirming them before something like this gets out that could potentially be incorrect and false. So, yes, I know I already read this part, but here I go again. The tweet came in response to the Celsius Bankruptcy Examiner report. I did that for context because I think it matters, which allegedly mistakenly implied that Tether was among Celsius borrowers alongside firms like Three Arrows Capital, which borrowed $75 million from the firm. Released on January 31st, the Examiner report mentioned on page 183 that Celsius loans to Tether were twice its credit limit. The report notes that Tether's exposure eventually grew to over $2 billion, which became an issue in late September 2021. When it was described to the risk committee as presenting an existential risk to Celsius. Denying any exposure to troubled Celsius, Ardano suggested that examiner Shobha Pillai mixed up prepositions in the examiner report, actually meaning Celsius loans from Tether instead of Celsius loans to Tether. Celsius loans from Tether instead of Celsius loans to Tether. I would be very afraid if this examiner could mix up something so simple in a situation like this. I would be very, very concerned that they were the examiner if I had any vested interest in what was going on here. This is terrible. Again, maybe it's not a mistake, but if it is, unbelievable. Stay safe in Web3 and learn more about Web3 antivirus. You like how they just throw that advertisement in there? Crypto is one of the greatest opportunities for advertising, and advertising, being, as you all know, a multi-billion-dollar industry, is actually going through a boom, another boom, and another internet boom. So don't believe the headlines that you read and all the naysayers and catastrophiers regarding FB ads and Google and everything else and the layoffs. This is all a cyclical thing, and all these companies are actually on the verge of another boom. And take it from me, because it's one of my businesses, advertising is rolling in an excellent manner and has been for decades now. The only time it was actually not too exciting on the internet, by the way, just a fun fact, is in the early 90s, because it wasn't so refined yet, and pay-per-click and all these things didn't work very well yet. So we actually, in my various internet ventures in the beginning days there, we actually used offline and direct mail more than we used the PPC and all the online marketing. And then, of course, it became more sophisticated and more effective. So we cascaded into that. So anyhow, I think I'm going to end the video here. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you on the next video. Hit the bell, subscribe, and like if you liked the video if you didn't already.